Be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.
In the 90s, we were just teeny tykes. We went to movies and our bikes. We wanted to be DJs, but we were just teeny gals. So we went off to college and we remained as pals. 20 years later, we're still watching flicks and we're bringing you the favorite bit by bit. Sweety and Sweetie are here to say it's the Large Marge Santa's podcast. Hey,
Hey guys, welcome to the Large Marge Sent Us podcast, your favorite podcast where two sweetie sisters talk about movies that shaped their childhood. I'm Sweetie with an I.
And I'm Sweetie with a Y.
Well, big week in the lives of the sweeties. Woo! I'm getting married.
Yay.
So big week, guys. Weddings on Saturday. Ooh. On Saturday, the 26th. Long time coming, as you all know. We had planned it for June, and then we moved it from the because of the pandemic. So it is finally here. So many months later, you know, give or take about 9. Though we got engaged last December, so we're moving in on a whole year being engaged. So it was time. So we're really excited, and we cannot wait. We're heading down to where the wedding venue is. We're getting married in Carol's backyard.
Carol.
And Sweetie, Avi, maid of honor.
Sweetie of honor.
She's going to look so stinking stunning. And it's going to be a great, great day. Weather looks awesome, knock on wood. And, you know, mostly a family affair, but it's going to be really fun. So, good song. Holleration.
Honestly, don't know any of the words. I'm just gonna rhyme stuff.
Forget it. Mary J. Blige. So yeah, we're super excited, and going along with that, you know, we felt like we had to do a wedding themed episode for y'all. And we've done a couple past wedding movies: My Best Friend's Wedding, Father of the Bride, The Wedding Singer, 16 Candles. You might even call that a wedding movie.
Interesting. Yeah. Father of the Bride. Did you say Father of the Bride yet?
At the end there, I said Father of the Bride, yeah. So we've done a couple. And those are definitely our favorites. But we decided this week to try The Wedding Planner.
Oh, sorry. Hello? I was just searching for Love Don't Cost a Thing lyrics, and I'm gonna just so that we can use them later. And I'm just like dying in my head. Like, I can't believe they use that song in the movie. Like, it's like the most blatant like agenda pushing of like, please make this, like, I'm in this movie so that they can popularize this song that I just released. Like, it's so weird.
Well, what came first? The chicken or the egg? What came first?
Well,
My Love Don't Cost a Thing or this movie?
I feel like usually with that, like, they're looking probably the movie, and then they were like, oh, you're releasing a song at the same time, like maybe that's how they got her to sign on the deal or something. I don't know, like, it just seems very weird. That song has
it seems
nothing
like
to do with this movie, and the lyrics
you know, the credits are always for those random songs, but it's sort of like Madonna syndrome, where every movie Madonna was in, I feel like they played a song of hers in the credits, right?
Or like
you
Will
just
Smith,
use that
but it was
artist.
about that movie. Like, this used to be my playground. Yeah. Like, that's perfect for A League of Their Own. But I'm sorry, but Matthew McConaughey did not roll up in the Escalade and and have a roly bling, you know, like.
But that was the J-Lo. All her songs are like that. That's like the J-Lo persona,
it was definitely a song created like not for this movie. Like, they are just like, let's use a J-Lo song, definitely. And I just think it's stupid. Anyways, we did.
Anyway,
the wedding planner.
We're remote again, so it's a little hard to get in sync. So. It's Tear Up My Heart, all right. So yeah, Wedding Planner. Okay, totally didn't realize this movie came out in 2001. I thought it was much newer than that, honestly, because I would have been a senior in high school, guys. So this like feels pretty old to me, but I don't find this movie really dated at all. Like it doesn't feel like it's like of that 2000 early 2000s like era necessarily.
Some of the wedding, I think the wedding dress, I feel like wedding dresses are the best place to look for dated, like what date it is, right? Like I feel like those are always just such a good indication. And I would say the spaghetti strap halter style was evident in this. So that does make sense to me now that you said that. But the everyday style was better. Like it didn't, like it, you could definitely sense
like
a transition. Yeah.
And I feel like for kind of the thing you can tell is that whether people have cell phones or not, and this is one where they really didn't. So that's kind of when you can tell it was almost like pre-cell phone kind of time, because it really was. And like not a ton of computers in this either. So I guess that would kind of date it too. Technology, right? Yeah. Technology will date you. Okay, so Wedding Planner 2001. So this movie is sort of tied in with what like I'd call the J-Lo rom-com era, also like movies you'd see on a matinee like with your mom. I just feel like she like did a couple of those in a row. And, you know, they're not the greatest movies by any means. And honestly, this movie has not aged well for me. And I think mostly it's because I'm looking at it from the position of the fiance in this film versus when I used to watch this movie. I was really looking at it from the Mary like side, because let me just tell you, as a bride to be with only a couple days to go, this movie is fucked up. It might not be a good movie to watch right before you're supposed to walk down the aisle, because like it's not good, and it's not saying good things about like, you know, engagements and like whatever.
Well, the whole thing's just bogus. Like it's just like
bogus.
They weren't in love, and it just took them a really long time to understand that and realize it. And Mary was just the like momentum that made them realize that. And I don't know if, I mean, like, maybe they just did that so that we're not like, oh, poor Franny, like she wanted this too. Like it's not like she was jilted, kind of thing.
Well, I mean, here's why I think it still succeeds, is because they didn't make the fiance like a horrible character. Like they didn't make her vapid and annoying. She's pretty normal, which I feel like in past movies, that's what they try to do when there's like sort of like a cheating thing and they want you to get on board with someone who's basically like cheating on their partner. And the only way that can happen is if that partner is like kind of shitty, right? But also like everyone is pretty likable in this. So even though like some of the stuff going on is like pretty shady, and in the real world, Matthew McConaughey would be like a garbage bag. I mean, that guy is a loser. And like no other way would that be tolerated if that was like anyone else but Matthew McConaughey. But because he's so likable, like it makes it okay. And that's kind of like what rom-coms always do, right? Because the stories are always terrible. I mean, they're always like really just not good. And it's just obviously completely unrealistic and whatever. But it passes because they do cast these so well, and you end up like really liking the character. So in this case, we have, so obviously J-Lo starring role, as we said, as the wedding planner Mary. Not like, I don't know, I feel like J-Lo has sort of this in her like private persona, like who she is, I think, as a person, which people kind of know a lot now, and also because of as the singer. She's like this strong woman who seems very independent and stuff like that. Her movie roles, I feel like she's like so like, and she goes back and forth in this one. Sometimes she's like independent and kind of cynical, and that's her character. But then when she's like interacting with Steve, she's kind of like drippy, and I don't even know like what the right adjectives are to use for it. Like too soft and just kind of like, oh, and she talks in this like little girl voice, and it's like a weird dynamic for me with her. And I don't remember for other ones if she's like that too, like Made in Manhattan.
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know. I didn't get that a ton in this. I thought that she was for the most part the same. Like I don't know, like she seemed the same kind of like control freak neurotic person, but I still just didn't really understand like why. Oh, because her weird fiance like left her for her friend or whatever. Okay, because I was like, there has to be another of these, and then she's a control freak of why she's like not dating anyone.
Right, exactly. She's too pretty for that.
But yeah, ultimately on this rewatch, it was like, it just like nothing makes sense. Like I just don't, I don't get it. Like I don't even get like, wait, why didn't they even have the wedding at the vineyard? Like I didn't even get that. Like because the horse,
I don't know why
the horse got spooked. Like.
Why would you go to the public park and be like, yeah, like this is where we should have a wedding?
spot.
Never mind. Like, I don't think you can rent out a public park and have like a multi-million-dollar wedding. Like, excuse me.
Orange trees from Thailand into the Central Park.
Like, so crazy. It's like, it's so outlandish. So yeah. So J-Lo, Matthew McConaughey, the fiance is the actress Bridget Wilson Sampras. She married Pete Sampras, I guess. Former Miss Teen USA. Certainly looks like it. But do you remember her from a TV show that you were a big fan of?
Yeah, Saved by the Bell. She was one of the like nerdy girls. The like nerdy blonde hot girls. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, she's the one that...
She's also in Billy Madison. She's like the teacher in that. Yeah.
Francine. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Good one.
Judy Greer, who is like always steals every movie she's in. I feel like, including this one, she's hilarious in this and is like her friend / like
assistant
business
or something?
like assistant or something. Yeah. At the wedding planning company. Kathy Najimy is the owner of the wedding planning company.
I had no idea that
She's
was her
great
until tonight. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, the blonde. I know.
Yeah.
Justin Chambers from Grey's Anatomy is, and this part is what really just got me and Jimmy rolling in the aisles today, I'll tell you. He plays like an Italian with like the worst, most stereotypical, like it's like Super Mario is like in this movie is so bad. And honestly, I feel like it's like a racist stereotype of like an Italian person. It's terrible. Why wouldn't they just get an Italian? Like there's not like a hot Italian actor out there. I mean, he wasn't really super known that right now. Like Grey's Anatomy hadn't started yet.
And I remember when Grey's Anatomy did come out and I was like, wait, that guy's not like a weird Italian guy. Like I was so confused. He really tricked
the accent.
He really tricked me.
Terrible. And of course he like rides a Vespa.
Oh my God, it's so funny.
Like, oh God, it's like too much for me.
I just like can't believe in a million years she would be like, yeah, I'll marry you, Massimo. Like it just like
like
I know we're skipping ahead, but like I'm sorry, I still can't get over it.
Yeah. No, the whole movie is like totally unbelievable. Then you have Alex Rocco is her dad who is in The Godfather.
Is it Rocco?
Yeah, Rocco. Sorry, it's Rocco. Yeah, who is in The Godfather? Yep. Very Italian-looking fella. And then R.I.P. Fred Willard is in this as the dance instructor. Very funny. Yeah. And then I forget who like the drunk like lush parents are, but they're really funny like, too, and like totally crack me up.
Yeah, character actors of. You've seen them in other movies, seen them probably
in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Is
that it? Yeah, I guess that's all the peeps.
Yeah, so those are kind of like the main ones. So as I said, like this is totally a movie like you'd like go to a matinee like with your mom or like because I remember like we saw Maiden in Manhattan with like mom
I got
and we
confused. I was like, didn't we see this?
Me too, and I'm like, was it this one or no? But I realized upon this watch that I have like maybe seen this all the way through like once because I've really only seen half of it. Because as soon as they got to the part where they're like in the garden and the limestone like penis thing and the super glue, I was like, what? Like I didn't remember like almost the last half of it at all. Like I remembered the plot and what happened, but I didn't remember almost like any of the scenes or details and. It was weird. So I think I would always catch it on TV and maybe like only get through half of it and be like, oh, I have to like go somewhere or whatever.
Okay.
So almost like a brand new movie for me.
I mean, like same for me, except I would never have to go somewhere, so I would see the whole thing. Yeah. And like, I just remember it being one of those movies that I would just always watch. Like it was always on TV, and I'd be like, oh, The Wedding Planner again. I'll just watch this again.
It was always on TBS or something.
Yeah, and it was like, oh, I could watch like these 3 movies I haven't seen before. Oh, The Wedding Planner's on. Yeah, I'll watch that.
Wedding Planner. Yeah.
It's always one of those things. I don't know why, but yeah, rewatching it now, I was like, I think this movie's weird. I really like the beginning, but the end, like. I just couldn't get over it. So it's interesting how things have changed now that we've aged.
Yeah. Well, I definitely. And I think you just see it in a different perspective. And you see like, I feel like this thing with Hollywood of like kind of pushing this like, oh, well, he's like cheating on his fiance and it's like falling in love with someone else is like a meet cute like rom-com situation. But when you're like a 35-year-old woman in the dating world, you're like, that piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like, who is leaving work to go on a date with someone that they like saved, damsel in distress style, and like lies about it to his fiance, and just the fact that we'll talk about this, we're getting ahead of ourselves, but that she knew all about him and like continues to fall in love with him, because for me that would be huge red flag.
Tries really hard not to, but like, yeah, I mean, she makes
well, it's hard not to. He's Matthew McConaughey. I mean, hello.
He seems like a dumb doctor to me. I'm sorry. Like he was like, he didn't know what third person was. And I just, just like so suspicious.
And he thinks brown M&Ms have more
less
food coloring in them.
Less food coloring.
But it's the opposite.
Less food coloring.
Like they definitely have more.
Less food
yeah.
coloring.
But like, because the shells of the M&Ms are not made of chocolate, it's like a candy coating. So you have to dye those.
There you go, sweetie. See,
it's not.
You should be.
They're not made out of chocolate.
You should be a pediatrician. Clearly, like you have.
We'll go over it.
But yeah, it's bullshit.
Okay, so the director of this is Adam Shankman, which I'm pretty sure was involved with So You Think You Can Dance, I want to say.
What?
Yeah, maybe.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah. So he directed Hairspray, 17 again, that one with Zac Efron and Matthew Perry.
If he directed Hairspray.
Cheaper by the Dozen and Step Up.
Okay.
So he did like
dance
Step
stuff,
Up.
so obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously he did.
Yeah. So he does pretty like, he did like pretty fluffy stuff. But I mean, like we said, totally watchable movie, but like as you age, does not age with you well. Becomes like way too unrealistic and just like doesn't make any sense. I agree.
No.
It's still like cute.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's still cute.
Yeah,
I'd watch it on a rainy
I'm still gonna watch it again,
Saturday.
like in a couple months. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like it's fine.
Yeah,
it's totally fine. All right. Okay. Is that ready? Get into it. Into it.
Yep. It's time for the Sweetie synopsis. Yeah.
Sweeties.
Those who can't wed plan.
Sure.
You've heard of this. Those who can't. What is the saying? Those who can't do teach. Well, those who can't wed plan.
Makes sense.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Mary something. Does she have a last name?
Fiore.
Who's Italian? Is a
wait. Time out. Do you think that J-Lo in Hollywood is sort of like ethnically ambiguous?
Yeah.
And that's how they use her?
I was trying to think that, and I'm not sure. Like, I don't know enough. I mean, I know a lot of Italian people, and I've never really seen someone that looks like J-Lo. So
right.
I'm not sure.
Well, she's Puerto Rican.
I know, but it's like, I don't know if but maybe I haven't seen enough Italian people to know that there's not someone that looks like J-Lo, but I guess she kind of could be, but only sadly in the sense that she is a little brown, right? So they're like, oh, I think Hollywood assumes people can be racially ambiguous just because they're not white, which I feel like is a problem. But
there's some pale Italians, I just want to say.
Right, and it's not, right, like it doesn't make sense. Again, doesn't make sense. So Mary is a wedding planner at this like bomb company that like is like wedding planning is their middle name. Like that's the company. They all have these little headsets. They take wedding planning like as serious as like a spy operation in Mission Impossible. And it's like
they're basically like stage managers.
Like
a stage manager of a show.
Down? Like it's just like like they're giving like code names to people's big hairdos.
They get paid the big bucks.
But yeah, they put on these like amazing like large scale weddings, and like Mary just has her shit together. And they open the movie with her as a young girl, like instead of playing with Barbie, she's like planning the Barbie wedding and like giving the Barbie a pep talk, and then like giving a real bride a pep talk, that kind of thing. So Mary's big thing is that she wants to score this big wedding upcoming of this daughter of a potato chip fortune. Is that their company, their family company money?
Their family made like sausages or something like that. like small sausage, and then they expand into like an online grocery store seller or something like that.
Yeah, so they're like big
Yeah.
in the like business world, I guess. They're in Yahoo magazine, which is like
But new money.
Yahoo magazine.
I know. I'm like, what is Yahoo
weird.
magazine? Dated. That's how dated.
So,
it
but
is.
Francine's getting married, and so Mary has an idea that she wants to land this wedding so that she can become a partner at her wedding planning firm or whatever. So that's the plan. So she goes to meet with Francine, this woman, and she like lays out this like gorgeous dream wedding for them with these like beautiful white silk tents. You can see the stars through, and like
You missed what happened before that, though.
well, she hasn't met him yet.
Yes, she has.
No, because she gets her foot
Right?
stuck in the grate as she's leaving that meeting because she's talking to Jerry on the phone. I totally nailed it, Jerry. So
okay.
yeah, so she basically kills it, and the family's like, yes, we will give you all of our money. Like, here you go, sign me up. So she's super excited, and as I said, she's now talking on the phone to her boss, walking back from this appointment, so excited. Walks, as you do in the city, your stiletto heel gets stuck right in that one little hole in the grate in the street, and it's stuck and you can't even move at all. And then this crazy taxi driver look at an ice cream cone. It's like a kitty. It's like a sliver of ice cream on the cone. He's licking it. It rolls off, and he's like, oh, fuck. And then is still driving the car while trying to fix his ice cream cone, smashes into a dumpster, which then loosens and like rolls down the hill, because this is San Francisco, by the way, so there's hills everywhere, rolls down the hill towards Mary, about to just kill her. And she's struggling because these are new Gucci shoes. Like, she doesn't want to give these puppies up, which, like, I understand. It makes sense. Because those shoes would have been toast, right? I'm assuming. Although I don't know. Yeah, because they were sticking up, so the dumpster would have been like, But on the other hand, I feel like she could have taken them to a shoe doctor, and they probably could have fixed those right up. Just saying, Mary.
Oh, totally. I mean, and I was pretty sure that the shoe was going to be fine. Like, the dumpster might have passed over it.
I think
like,
it was sticking up too
knows?
far, but who knows? Yeah, who knows?
Whatever.
Who's to say?
It's a shoe.
So Matthew McConaughey's in the background. He sees this and saves Mary. She passes out. I'm unclear of like where her real like injury is. Like I don't like it seemed like he protected her head as she fell down, so I don't think she hit her head. I don't know. But anyways, he picks her up and she tells him that he smells like plums and grilled cheese sandwiches, which I think is disgusting. Like, if somebody told me I smelled like cheese, I'd be like, great, my life is over, Like, it's
just very specific.
It was weird. And like, when I was little, I was like, oh, that's so cute. But now I'm like, ew, cheese? Like, you don't want to smell like cheese. So next thing we know, Mary's awoken in a hospital, and there's all these like little children around. And so this is like probably my favorite scene of the whole movie is like the little kids pretending to be the doctor. They're like, Mary's like, where am I? And the kid's like, don't worry, you're at like St. Margaret's Children's Hospital. I'm your doctor. I'm taking care of you. And then Mary tries to like feel her neck, and she can't move it because there's like a big neck brace on it. And she's like, oh my God. And she's like, I'm paralyzed. It's pretty funny.
And the little kids are like, if you can move, you're moving your arms and legs.
You're not
if you can
paralyzed.
do that, you're probably not paralyzed. Smart
And
kids.
then the doc comes in. So his name is Dr. Steve. And he is a pediatrician at this, children's hospital, set up Mary with the free X-ray or CAT scan or whatever, and then whatever. She quickly realizes he's very attractive, and she's like, oh my God, he saved my life. This is it. Like, I've scored this hot guy. So Penny comes in, who is her assistant / partner, peer, colleague, I don't know. Pretty sure it's her assistant because she doesn't treat her very well, and she makes much less money than J-Lo does. So that makes sense. But she's excited too about this doctor because she knows that Mary doesn't date very much. So Penny like slyly suggests that they go see a movie in the park, which is one of Mary's favorite activities to do. So the date, quote unquote, happens, and then what happens?
Right, and it's right after.
Right, it's literally like they go from. Like, does she change?
I think her and Penny have like a standing date to do this because they have like reserved seats and it must be like something they always do. So she doesn't change.
Okay.
Yeah. So they go and they just like invite Dr. Steve along, and Penny says like she needs to talk to him about like medical stuff because she thinks she wants to be a doctor or something. Like totally bullshit.
Good friend.
So they get there. Yeah, they get there and Penny's like, oh, shucks, I just forgot. I need to help my friend's brother's godmother load her fax machine cartridge because she's going out of town. Bye.
She's going to India. Like, yeah, it just kept getting like bigger and bigger.
I love like, and Judy Greer is so funny, and the way she delivers those lines is like great. So they end up solo on the date, and they get to chatting, and it's a fun time. He tells her his little theory about brown M&Ms and how those are the most healthy because they have less artificial coloring because chocolate's already brown. Like I said, newsflash, Dr. Steve, the candy coating is not chocolate. It has to be dyed no matter what. Like, I don't know what to tell you. You're a doctor. Like, where the fuck have you been? So anyway, they have like some cute moments, and then they dance under the stars, and it's really, really romantic, and they almost kiss, and then it starts raining. Now, if it was me, like, I just go for it. Who
So
cares
romantic.
if it's raining and you're kissing? That's even more romantic. Unfortunately, they like don't kiss, but that ends up being a good thing because, well, she like is really in love with this guy, but they part ways, and she goes to like the next day she's like can't stop smiling. She meets Fran, and you know Fran has her tell her the whole story, so like a lot of people know that she's met this doctor and she's like fallen in love. So like Penny does, Fran does, they're all like rooting for her. So then side plot, her dad, right, is he's not in like a home. No, that's just like the Scrabble club that they go to.
He's into something, I think, because like,
yeah, is it a home?
no, I guess it's an apartment. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. So he has like all these old people friends, and she plays Scrabble with them all the time. Her parents were Italian immigrants, and they learned English by playing Scrabble. So it's like a big deal in her family. So her dad obviously like wants her to get married so bad. Feels like there's obviously pressure for herself to get married, but it sounds like her dad like is kind of pressuring her too. So he reconnects her with this kid she used to play with as like
one summer
a
they
little
were
girl.
in Italy.
Yeah,
it was like
I guess
a very brief amount of
'cause he's
time.
from
my
Italy.
understanding.
So this Massimo comes into the picture, like we said, played by Justin Chambers, that actor from Grey's Anatomy, with the most horrible Italian accent you've ever heard. And he's like, I'm from Italy. Like, Mary, I love you. I mean, it's like, terrible. So he like is convinced that they are engaged because like some sort of arranged marriage between families, I guess.
Because he knows the dad like wanted to get them together, so he's like, okay, and like who knows what the dad was
like,
telling him.
Yeah, like I will marry you. It's sad. So she kind of has that going, and she's just so mad at her dad, and she's like, "What the hell? Like, get away!" And she knows in her mind, okay, I've met this Dr. Steve guy. Like, I'm not, a cynical, sad spinster anymore. Like, I have a potential suitor. So she's ready. So she goes to ballroom dancing class because like a lot of her clients sign up for that for their wedding or something like that.
That she was like going there for the class. Didn't you get the sense that she was just dropping off that other couple and being like, they want to sign up for 3 weeks or whatever? But then she sees. But then the lady's like, Mary, like the famous dance instructor so-and-so's here tonight. So it's maybe she was going to say hi to him or something. And then she sees Franny waiting in the inside. So, she's like, what are you doing here?
So, So Fran and her fiance, who she calls Eddie, are taking ballroom dancing lessons because she looks like I forgot, she like says something funny, some sort of like string bean,
a retarded string bean.
Like she dances.
Like,
what even is that mean?
Dates the movie, I'll tell you. Like
I know, yikes, the R word, don't use it. So she's like, and you can finally meet Eddie, and who turns around but Dr. Steve. So this is terrible, right? So obviously super awkward for both of them, and Mary's heart is just broken because like she's thinking what we were just saying in the intro, like what a piece of shit. I mean, what the hell what is going on with this guy? Like he's engaged and / going to be married in 3 months. Like, fuck you. So Fran has to take some business call. So she's like, Mary and Eddie, why don't you dance and like take notes, and then like I'll come in when the phone call's done. So they have this sort of heated exchange where she's like yelling at him and why is he getting married? You know, asking all the right questions, which is like good for her. But they're doing like a ballroom dance at the same time. So on their little date in the park, she learned that he did take ballroom dancing lessons. And I thought that part was funny in the park because like they literally like embrace and start swaying. She's like, "Oh, where'd you learn how to dance?" Like, what?
Yeah.
Like that is not that much dancing, but you do learn that he took ballroom dancing lessons as a kid. This is also dates this movie, and she's like, "Oh, you're gay."
Yeah,
like yeah.
There were a lot
totally,
of like, "Haha,
yeah.
you're gay" jokes in this.
Yeah, which is so
which
like
is definitely
90s.
late 90s,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
90s, and then was starting to peter out like towards the mid.
So they both have this like heated like tango basically. And the dance instructor at the end is like, "Wow, that couple's going to last forever. Like they have so much passion." So, but they kind of get it all out there. She kind of calls him on his bullshit. And they end the night with them agreeing to like go visit a wedding venue together, right? Mm-hmm. A vineyard.
So yeah, they go for the weekend to this vineyard. Mary like does a very ballsy thing, and Fran's like, "What happened to that guy you danced with and you were really excited about?" And Mary was like, "Oh, like he turned out to be like somebody I didn't realize, or like a bad person." And Fran's like, "What happened?" And Mary goes, "Oh, well, it turned out he was the groom of one of the weddings I was planning." So like this just happened like a couple days ago, right? So Franny knows that, like, I don't know, I guess Mary didn't tell Franny that Dr. Steve saved her, right?
Right.
Okay. I always thought.
Wait, I thought she told the whole story.
That's what I thought.
I think she told her the whole story.
Too,
yeah.
Because Fran knows that Steve saved an old lady from a dumpster.
Right.
So
right.
if Mary told her the same story, and then she's like, "Oh, she's dating the, like, put it together, Fran. Why is everyone dumb in this movie? Like, hello." But anyway, so Mary and Steve just kind of like are angry at each other. It's very awkward chemistry like throughout this car ride. So then they get to the vineyard, and then who should be there but Massimo, who's like, I don't know why I guess the dad's just like constantly trying to like get them together. So he was like telling him where she was. So Massimo proceeds to tell everyone that like he is her fiance. And this is the part that drives me absolutely bananas, is that Steve is like, oh, really? You're engaged? And then Mary says nothing. She says nothing. Like, this is the time.
She could have fixed the entire thing by just saying, "This guy is some creepy, crazy Italian stalker. Like, I do not know him. He is not my fiance." But she doesn't say anything.
So now Steve thinks that they're on the same level of like assholes when they are not.
Yeah.
And it drives me insane. And she keeps up this ruse until the very end. And so like whatever. But she's still like, haha, what? I don't know. And then she gets on a horse, and then Franny's mom like hits a high note, and the horse goes nuts, and the picnic basket is just, goes everywhere. And Steve saves Mary again on a horse, and they have this like a moment again, this like passionate rescue, like
this like dumb damsel in distress stuff with her.
And the dad's
I'm like, do we have to use this again?
The dad's like, see, that's why you should learn how to ride a horse. It's like, you know what? I didn't ask to come to this vineyard to see this wedding venue. Like, I didn't know riding a horse was on my like list of skills that I have, even though I'm like a highly successful wedding planner. But like, whatever. So at some point they're like, I guess we don't want to get married at the vineyard. They go home again. I don't know why.
Remember, because the daughter's like, oh, like someone, like their family friend's daughter got married there.
That was at the very beginning.
And the dad's like, No, and the dad was like, no, we can't get married here. Like that, like I'm not going to be second like fiddle to Bruce, whatever. So like that's why they didn't choose the vineyard.
That was like right when they got there. So they just like farted around for the whole weekend or whatever anyways. Like that doesn't make sense.
Was it a whole weekend or just a day?
Oh yeah, maybe just a
it's
day because you couldn't take it off work or whatever.
Yeah, Saturday. It was just Saturday.
Yeah, so whatever. So the vineyard's out. So they go back and Franny's like, listen, I have a business trip, so you guys have to plan the wedding now, like just with you two. And Mary's like, no, I don't want to. But they do it anyways. They like go to pick out statues at some like statue garden, and they like fucking break one and try to super glue it back on. And they have this like super cute like laughing moment, and that's when they kind of start bonding. They bond as she's removing the penis from his hand that he's holding. That he was holding broke off. Mm-hmm. She's removing it with nail polish remover. Is that right?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So then they're kind of like warming back up to each other a little bit. So then they're picking out flowers in the flower market, and who should be there but, surprise, Mary's ex-fiance, who left her on their wedding day? To
or rehearsal dinner.
She caught him making out with his high school sweetheart, who I guess was also one of her good friends. So they're now married. They're there together, and Mary like can't handle that and just gets like super plastered. And Steve
I'm pretty sure she had 2 beers because she's holding like a package, 6-pack of Heineken. I think there's only 2 beers drunk, and she can't remember what keys open the door.
She's not a drinker
or walk.
She only has
correctly?
1 glass of wine at dinner, and that's it. So she can't have 2. It's too much. But yeah, she's just a mess. And he brings her inside, and then they have this like sweet little like discussion. And JLo's literally, her skin's literally like glowing as she's like super drunk and like, you know, just upset on the couch. And of course you're fucking glowing. God damn you. So then they say goodnight or whatever, and then Steve knocks on the door again, and he's like, blah, 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 love you, or something. I don't know, like says whatever nice things to her.
I mean, wouldn't, like, she clearly has, so you find out that, like, she just doesn't not want to date. It's because she has kind of, like, PTSD from, like, a bad situation, right?
Yeah, right.
So wouldn't that make you like Steve even less because he's like sort of potentially doing that like to his own fiance?
Yeah.
I mean, you think that wouldn't be a trigger and you wouldn't be like, fuck this dude? I mean, she has to work with him so she gets it. Like she wants this like account. So she's really putting like business over her own feelings. But like, I don't know. I would shut that thing down like mentally so fast.
Which is what she tries to do, right?
Yeah.
And, she's
and
like,
she does like multiple
she's like,
times.
Leave, like I don't want to see you. And she's just pissed because it took him like whatever, how long, I don't know. I don't even know why she's pissed, to be honest. Like this was her out to be like, oh, now we can be together. But I think, because she's still like, I love Fran. And I'm like, why do you love Fran? Like she's been your client for like a couple weeks. Like I don't.
She has fun with her.
Yeah.
But his like sob story about how like, that like night in the park was the funnest thing like I've ever done in my
was some
whole
bullshit.
Life.
And I just like hate his like, so what? I was a man and I got excited. So Subi. It's like, well, Steve, you're actually not supposed to do that. Like it's just like weird. Like being a man is an excuse to like be an asshole.
It's just the whole thing is just, it's yucky. I just don't feel good. It's gross that they make a premise about a movie about this. It's just yucky to me. But you're right. She shuts it down. Good for her. She's like, you love Fran, like get out of here.
Right.
So he does. And then she is sort of, I think the next scene is like she is at her dad's friend's like birthday party. And of course Massimo's there and he like rolls in, talk about taking someone's attention off of someone's birthday, rolls in with a dollhouse and is like, hey, Mary, I made this dollhouse for you. And like, will you marry me? And there's like an engagement ring inside and he does this like sweet little speech. But mind you, they've been on like one kind of date where he made her macaroni and cheese and talked about how he remembers her mom like didn't have a pinky fingernail. I mean, this is like this extent of their relationship. Yeah. It's not great. But her dad had told her that the mom and him had an arranged marriage. So she's like, and they, ended up having like a pretty happy marriage and a happy life. And so she kind of is like, oh, okay, well, if my parents, this is kind of swaying her to be like, well, maybe that is the way to go. Like this sort of arranged marriage thing where maybe you don't like them or know them very well initially, but then you like learn to love somebody. So she accepts the engagement by spelling out okay in Scrabble letters. If you have to say okay, not even speak the word yes to a proposal, you should be saying no.
Well, they only did that so that
weird.
You think she's writing no, but she's writing okay.
Right.
So it's like an aha, like got you kind of thing. But my question is,
no.
and the thing that upsets me is that I think it's before this, right? When Fran's like, I don't think I want to marry
yes.
Steve.
Sorry, yes.
And so Mary does like steals herself and then like does her whole like spiel that she does in the beginning, which
right.
she's been giving to her Barbie since she was like 6, which is that like you're right. like exquisite, you're timeless,
you're exquisite.
You know what Steve said to me, like, wow, I can't believe she picked me. Like, so she's like convinces herself it's the right thing to do to convince Fran to marry someone that she doesn't really want to marry, and she's in the meantime like questioning whether she should marry someone she doesn't want to marry, even though this kills me too, is that as soon as Franny's like, I don't want to marry Steve, wouldn't Mary be like, oh, this is great because then we can be together? But no, she decides to just be like depressed about it and then say yes to Massimo. And it's like, girl.
But I think that's just like what she's been trained to do, so she just like falls back on that. But you shouldn't be talking people into marrying somebody. It's like, if those flags are being raised, like pay attention to them, because like this is not great. Like it's a big decision people are making, and if you have any doubts, like maybe it's not right, maybe you should think about it. You don't have to get married. And same thing about her own life, right? Like she just defaulted into this like, well, like no, like it's not like it's not okay to have second thoughts, like it's just meant to be like whatever, because that's what she convinces herself, right? She really does not want to get married to him, but she's going to do it anyway.
Right, it doesn't make sense. But like if she's sad about Steve or whatever, the answer is not like, oh, let me go marry this person I've had 3 sentences of conversation with. Like,
I know.
You could also just say no and then live your life. It's like, it's not like she's like a leper that can't get somebody and this is her last chance. Like she just needed to like get over the fact that she was hurt in the past and then like and then move on.
That was 2 years ago, so it's not like that was like 10 years ago. I mean, there's like grieving that you have to do when your fiance leaves you on your wedding day. I mean, hello, that is like some tragic hella shit right there. So I don't blame her, and like, take some time off from dating and just like find herself. And like her life was pretty sweet. I loved her apartment. Like she seemed to have a sweet little routine. And I hate how they frame it where she's like, oh, eating, like it's so sad. She has like her little TV tray table and she's like folding her little napkin in a certain way and just eating alone. And like that seems like a fun plan to me. And like her apartment was sweet.
I remember watching this when I was little and being like, I can't wait to have my own apartment and like come home to make like a cute dinner like that. And like, I thought it was great. I thought they made it look awesome. But I love a single gal montage. Like I'm just, shocked there wasn't a cat or something.
She's like alone in like her bed and she like pulls up the covers and it's like that sad, like,
I'm just
like, da, na, 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 na.
I always hate that in movies when they're just like, and now it's time for bed. And then, and then they just like turn off and go to bed. It's like, what? Like, what are you?
Like a little robot.
So weird. But yeah, so anyway, so she decides she's going to marry Massimo. So she makes Penny take care of the Steve and Franny's wedding. And then is like, I have something to do, go to get married at the courthouse or whatever. She's about to get married to Massimo, and then finally her father objects, and then all his little old people friend object too.
Wait, what happened to the Franny and Steve
that's
wedding?
happening like at the same time. So I'm just going to say this first. So they decide you don't want to marry Massimo. Like that wasn't the right thing to do to push you. And she's like, you're right. It's stupid. I'm not supposed to do this. So she leaves. So then, meanwhile, back at the park, Franny and Steve go on a walk, and discuss why they are getting married. And at first,
okay, wait, I just want to say, so in all these wedding movies, I know why they do it for like the drama or whatever, but like, please God, if you don't intend on marrying somebody, please do not wait for like the minute before the wedding. He literally, like, she's ready to go. She's gotten all, she spent probably all morning, get her hair and makeup done. She's ready to go. She's standing in her dress literally a minute before the wedding, probably. Steve comes in with like his tux on, but like the shirt's all unbuttoned and he doesn't have his bow tie or anything. And he's like, hey. And she's like, hey, like, what are you doing here? Like, it's unlucky to see the bride. Like, go away. Can we take a walk? You look beautiful. Can we take a walk? Like, what if he says shit? What are you doing? Yeah. Like, he knew when he left that apartment with J-Lo, Mary.
Yeah.
Even though she turned him down, like, he knew he was saying it out loud. Yeah. Like, I don't think like me and Franny are meant to be. That's when you make the phone call or you make the walk and you say, hey, before we lay down the money for this $1 million wedding, like,
well,
I'm not sure I want to get married.
I'm sure they already paid for most of it, and I think her father paid for all of it, anyways. At this point, so it's like, well, what's the harm?
But still, all those people
I know. I always wonder, like how do you handle that?
Time.
Like, hi everyone, the bride and the groom are not here. Like, what did Penny say? I feel so bad for her. I don't know. But yeah, so they decide not to get married, and Fran goes off on their honeymoon in Tahiti, which is nice, and then Steve goes to Penny and is like, hey, where's Mary? And she's like, Mary is getting married. And then he freaks out and like goes to the courthouse, and Massimo and her dad and the old people are outside, and it's like this really cute scene where he's like you're the man, like you're the guy, like Steve, Dr. Steve, and like they're like, who the hell are you? And it's like this, I don't know, it's just like silly thing. So then he discovers that Mary and Massimo didn't get married, so he goes after Mary, and Massimo takes him on his Vespa. He's wearing the like veil helmet that Mary was going to wear.
That broke my heart, and honestly it made me be like, okay, Massimo was like a sweet dude. At least he was the only one like not lying to people. I feel like this whole movie people are literally just lying to people's faces for like no reason at all. He was the most genuine person.
Should have picked.
And when I saw that he had made like a little moped like bridal helmet for her, oh my God, I was like, mistake, like go back and marry him.
Yeah. Should have picked Massimo. You made the wrong choice. But I know. But yeah, Steve, shows up at the park where Mary's watching another old movie on the log, tossing out the colored M&Ms. And Steve's like, why are you throwing out the colored M&Ms? And she's like, well, somebody told me. And it's like, no, yeah, blah, blah, blah. We have all heard the bullshit theory. And then they like get together and they kiss or whatever. And then that's it. Did they make it, Sweetie?
That's so funny. Because like they were like kissing in the park. Again, I didn't really remember the ending of this. And I was like, oh God, if they do like a switch to like kissing at a wedding altar, I am going to like lose my mind. Luckily they don't. It just says the end. So it's totally left open-ended, right? You don't know like what happened.
Hopefully they date.
Hopefully they date for a little bit, as we always say with these. Like, he tells her like, I mean, it's true. It's the truth, right? He's like, I don't really know you at all. Yeah, you don't.
Yeah, you know nothing.
But I know every curve of your face, and I know like every fleck of the gold in your eye.
This relationship.
Like, well, Steve, do you know like that she has the shits every time she eats like a bean burrito? Like, no, you wouldn't, because like you haven't lived together.
When was that?
Like, done. No, I'm saying like the intimacy that comes and the love comes with someone when you're together for a while and you have these like life experience
together. It's very clear in that
scene
to me that their entire attraction is based on physical appearance, or at least it is to him. And you're like, oh, great.
And like you said, like he's kind of like a dummy.
He's such a dummy.
I know they make him a doctor so he like doesn't seem as dumb, but honestly he's like
newsflash, he's a dumb doctor. Like, it's weird. He like doesn't doesn't understand art, and he's like, this statue's perfect for the wedding, and it's like Ares like fighting in a war. Like, what? Okay.
And then like he like, does he ever work? Because it seems like he is like constantly has days off. I'm like, what are you?
That's
you
true.
have time to do wedding planning? You're like a pediatrician at a hospital.
Yeah. He sucks. Steve is dumb.
So crazy. So I mean, for her sake, I really hope that they didn't make it. I hope she's like, oh man, a year later be like, oh, like, where's that Massimo? Like, he was kind of awesome. Dial him up and be like, we should have gotten married.
I think Penny.
That's what I
think
hope.
Penny and Massimo should get together. That's my.
Maybe. Oh, but this is also what I was thinking. So he puts Fran in the car, like you said, and she goes on the honeymoon. What do you think her reaction was when she finds out that, like, that little speech that he gave her that was like, we've outgrown each other. Like, you don't love me and I don't love you. But then he went and shacked up with the wedding
It's
planner.
not going to be good.
I
It's
mean,
not gonna be good.
yuck. I don't care how, like, I just feel like he totally conned her and made it be like, oh, it's totally mutual. Like, you don't love me, right? And then she's like, oh, okay, maybe, yeah, maybe I don't. Because she was, like, ready to marry him.
No, she wasn't.
And
but
then,
she like
finds
confesses
out.
to Mary that she like really doesn't really want to.
But her reasons were stupid. I'm sorry. Like, you don't like somebody because they roll up their pant leg when they're too full?
Well, she just,
those
I
are
don't know.
not
I think it
reasons
just,
to not
hit
like
her
each other.
That like they've been together since college. What else is out there? They don't know because they haven't dated anyone else. Like that is a crazy thing,
Right. No, definitely. And if you have any of those concerns, like, yeah, you definitely should break up and you shouldn't have gotten engaged. I'm confused of what the emphasis was for like getting engaged. That maybe they just felt like they had to because they had been together that long.
You're, like of a certain age.
But like, please, people. Yeah. Like, if you aren't like really excited to get married and start that phase of your life, like, do not do it. Like, you have to be like 100% invested in that because, I mean, the wedding planning alone will kill you. I know.
She knows. She knows.
You can't survive that. You're not gonna be able to survive marriage. That's why it's a good test. So I mean, tough movie. Like I said, not maybe the best choice to watch right before I walk down my own aisle, but we don't really have those problems, do we? Jimmy, sweet eye.
Is he here?
He watched it.
What was his impression?
Sweetie, what's your impression of the movie?
Scary. Did you watch the right movie?
Unrealistic. What was your Jimmy
Rating.
letter rating? C plus.
Wow. Bummer.
That's not great. That's not a good one.
Still passes, but like, still, you gotta work. You gotta work. You gotta improve.
Yeah, watchable, but just like way too much to pick apart. I mean, and you guys know we're like obviously going over the top with picking stuff apart. We know with rom-coms especially, you have to suspend reality quite a bit, or they wouldn't be fun to watch. We get it. Don't tear us apart on Instagram or anything.
I do want to give a shout out though and you mentioned J-Lo's acting in the beginning, but I really think she does a good job with her comedy in this movie. And I feel like there's two scenes that just like always make me laugh out loud of just like her delivery, I think is just perfect. And the first one is the part I already talked about with the kids in the hospital. And she's like, I'm paralyzed. Yeah. And like the way she says it is just like so believable, like panic. It's just hilarious. The second one, though, is when she's drunk and she can't get into her apartment. So she's like reading people's names off the thing. And she's like, Nancy Pong, apartment 1B. And she like presses the button and this woman's like, hello? And Sheila's like, Nancy Pong? She's like, this is Mary 2F. And then like some other guy opens the door and then Steve's like, thank you, this nice person opened the door for us. And he like carries Mary in, and as she's being like carried off, she like looks over her shoulder and she shouts at the man that opened the door, are you Nancy Pong? And I just like loved it.
Funny.
And I just think it was so funny.
That was really funny.
But I just always laugh out loud at those parts. So I do enjoy her comedic delivery, and I think that I think she can do both drama and comedy, but I think when she does comedy, I think she's a shining star. I will say it.
Yeah. Yeah, so like we said, her other ones that I wrote down that were like the rom-coms in the last like a 10-year period were Made in Manhattan, which like we said, we saw with Carol in the theater. So that's the one with Ray Fiennes, and she is like a single mom and she works as a maid in a really fancy hotel. And she like is trying on this fancy like woman's like clothes, and this guy walks in on her and like thinks she is the person who's staying in the hotel room. So she kind of like is leading this double life of being this like fancy woman, and the guy's like, I forget, he's like a politician, I think, Ray Fiennes. And they like fall in love, but like he thinks she's somebody else just from like the way she dresses, right? Kind of cute. We should relook at that one. Maybe that one holds up a little better. I remember her son's really cute, sweet in that, and she is like, oh, what's his name? Who I love from Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Yeah,
Bob Hoskins is like the
head butler,
head butler or whatever. Oh my god! And yeah, she's all these like cute people in the hotel who help her out. Okay, I never saw this one, but Plan B, which I think is the one where she like is going to get. Wait, something about getting like artificially inseminated or something?
Movie. No, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's something. I think it's something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Monster-in-Law. Also haven't seen that one with Jane Fonda, and I forget who the guy is.
Yeah.
And then Shall We Dance was a cute one. I remember Mom loved with Richard Gere and Susan Sarandon, and she's like the dance instructor that like Richard Gere falls in love with, and he like signs up for ballroom dancing, but it's like a trigger to like for him and his wife who have like a tough marriage or something to like get into ballroom dancing. I don't know.
Downer.
Yeah. But yeah, she's great. And I mean, when you look at her like acting resume, it's kind of like all over the place because she definitely has like kind of tough girl movies. And she really did a lot of those first. I mean, she did Selena, but then she did like more like The Cell, remember? And the one with Out of Sight with George Clooney and like, so she's done some tough stuff. She hasn't really done like too much Hustlers, I guess.
Enough. Was she in Enough, or was that Halle Berry?
Yeah. No, yeah, that one.
Yeah.
She did that Boy Next Door one where like the horror movie one.
Hustlers, she was just in recently, got a lot of good buzz for that. Yeah, she's great. You know, we love our J-Lo, so no complaints.
Yeah. Oh my god, she's awesome.
No complaints on J-Lo.
No, not at all.
But yeah, I mean, what else do you take away from this? Anything else?
Takeaways. Do I like Matthew McConaughey as an actor? I don't know. Like,
I hate
really, between this one and 10 Things How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Like, he's such a shithead in both of those. I just don't
like Matthew McConaughey when he's supposed to be a normal person.
Yeah, I think so too.
But when you know he's a little out there, like say his character in True Detective or I don't know, some other movie he's in, maybe Wolf of Wall Street is another good example. Like when he plays those characters who like are a little weird and like eccentric, I feel like his whole shtick works. But when he's just trying to play like a straight dude in San Francisco, you're like, why are you talking like that? Why are you so weird? Like one of the weirdest things he did that I thought was hilarious is that he spelled cool and was like COOL and like said it as if he was saying the word cool, which I thought was like sort of impressive. But
I feel like when they cast him as this like charming cad, let's say. So in How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, this one, let's say Failure to Launch, where he's like a loser living at home and like they hire Sarah Jessica Parker to like try to get him, remember, to like grow up. Like you should hate his character because he's a loser in like all those cases, right? But because who he is, and he's like, hey, I'm Matthew McConaughey and I have this cool accent and I like spell out the word cool. Like it makes it likable, but it's like really you should hate guys like that, and that just like bugs me. And there's not really a great like female equivalent to that necessarily, which bugs me too.
Yeah. I'm not a fan, but that's okay. I think I'm sure he's a great person, in real life. But
he seems like a lot of fun.
Like his character,
remember that naked bongo drumming with a high-end marijuana or something? Remember that? He like got arrested for that.
Amazing.
I think it was before pot was legal, and like the cops came to his house and he was like naked bongo drumming or something. I don't know.
Of course he was.
Seems like a fun guy.
Yeah.
So Brendan Fraser was actually slated to play his role, and he had a conflict with the movie, your favorite, Bedazzled. Yeah, so he couldn't do it. So that would have been like an interesting movie. I don't know if I could really see that. And then Sarah Michelle Gellar was supposed to be the J-Lo character, and then she dropped out or ended up not doing it. They also had Minnie Driver lined up, but I guess she couldn't do it either. So I don't know. I mean, I think J-Lo was perfect. And then this was like the most random, weird thing. Apparently, Jennifer Love Hewitt, this is like so many 2000 like names, all these like people who were famous then and really kind of no longer are. Jennifer Love Hewitt was developing like a very similar storyline to this. And this one came first, so she had to like cancel that project. Like let's hope it wasn't like wedding planner almost get hit by a dumpster. Well, I'm sure it was just like a wedding planner falls in love with the groom or something like that. Maybe, yeah. But wow, how random.
Jennifer.
What a coinky dink. I know.
Sod. Good ones. Yeah. So anything else?
No. Excited about the wedding this weekend?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
How's your speech coming?
Good. I practiced it a couple more times today. Starting to inject some ad libs, so I feel like it's getting there. Yeah. It'll be interesting. I still don't think I will be able to talk at all without crying. And like, that's the thing that worries me the most. So I don't know. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. Maybe we just need a plan if that is the case. I don't know.
Well, just like if you start crying, just like make it into a joke.
Well, I know, but like you have to get the words out to get a joke across. Like if I can't even speak, it's like, well, is she making a joke? I just hear sounds. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
It'll be okay, but it'll be great.
We're doing a little welcome speech, and a big part of it is a toast to our dad. So that part is what's getting me pretty choked up. But I ran through it a couple times, and I really had to take out some gushy language, or else like I was going to lose it. So I really dumbed down the language to be like, my dad was nice.
Same. And it's like really disappointing. And I'm like, why do our brains like have to like fuck up that with like that stuff?
I don't know.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
Or if I like think about you as I'm saying it, like if I'm not thinking about you, I'm fine. But like you're gonna be there, I'm gonna be like looking at you.
You don't have to face me if you don't want to.
I know. I'm gonna have to face Phil or something so I like can focus.
There you go.
But like,
no tears.
Yeah, it's gonna be tricky. Anyways, I'm excited, and I hope all of our fans will get to see some snaps of the day, sharing some of the fun times. But yeah, very exciting. It's almost 100%.
So we'll release this one probably this week, and then Jimmy and I are going on our honeymoon, so we'll have a hiatus next week because we will be gone.
Are you actually going on a honeymoon, or are you just off from work?
Yeah, no, we're driving to the Smoky Mountains.
Really?
Hello.
Well, I didn't. I wasn't sure if that was still happening or not because of the stuff.
No, we got a remote cabin. It's basically honeymoon quarantine. It's gonna be awesome.
What are you driving?
Yeah.
Jimmy's car?
Yeah.
Wow. Has he got it tuned up?
I know.
Get a tune-up? Fix those tires?
We actually had like a little weird rattle going on yesterday.
Yeah, you need the tune-up.
And we took it in, and I was like, oh, God, like if we can't go on this freaking honeymoon, but it's fine. He just like something had to be removed. So we're good to go, I think.
Phew. Wow.
I know. I would have just been like, F this. So we'll be off next week, guys, but I will come back as a married woman. Yay. So, hurrah! Been a long time coming.
So, do you like the wedding planner? Do you want to wish Sweetie best wishes on her wedding day? Come find us on Twitter at the Sweetie Club or on Instagram at Large Marge Sent Us. Thank you, as always, for listening. Bye.
Bye. Wedding rape artist. No.